Stop podcast surfing. You're in the right place. I've always wanted to sing. Hi, everyone. I am your host, Kimbralon B. I'm a licensed counselor, but I'm not your counselor. And I'm also the host of Good Tea and Reads. So I created Good Tea and Reads so we could use everyday topics, issues, and current events to explain the importance of mental health awareness. Most mental health discussions are so important because so many people suffer in silence or do not realize that they're dealing with mental health issues because of stigma, society, and family expectations, and other reasons. Some episodes on Good Tea and Reads are heavy and will make us think. Other episodes will be very enlightening or refreshing. But either way, you will have an awesome experience. Here's the disclaimer. Any information shared on Good Tea and Reads is not a substitute for seeking professional care from another professional. Any information shared on Good Tea and Reads is not meant to diagnose the subjects or persons discussed on this podcast. Also, any information shared on this show is for conversational, inspirational, and educational purposes as well. So, all right, this intro is long enough. All right, so go grab your cups really quick. Go, 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 go. So I can pour this piping hot tea. Meet me inside on this episode in 1, 2, 3. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Good Tea and Reads. I am your host, Kimbralon B. I am a licensed counselor, but remember, I am not your counselor, okay? So any information here on Good Tea and Reads is for conversational, inspirational, and educational purposes, and it does not substitute you seeking a higher level of care. So just a little bit about how Good Tea came to be. So, as I mentioned before, I am a licensed counselor, and I realized that not too many people make it to see me because of stigmas, finances, other barriers that stop them from taking care of their mental health care. So, I decided to take my show on the road because this is the true definition of meeting people where they're at. So I decided to create this podcast. And there's so many topics, everyday topics that I like to talk about. And one thing that I've learned is that I don't know it all. I usually tell people I'm a clinician, not a magician. But I have to team up with experienced people who have knowledge in other areas so they can bring insight into those areas and I can bring the mental health piece. So it's like tag teaming for a good cause. And I'm really appreciative when people come to my platform to actually share their knowledge because it shows that they have a heart of heart for the people as well. So we're here. Today is the first day of the week for us. It may be Monday. Some of you may start your weeks on Sundays. But I'm hoping that if you had the weekend off, that you had a fabulous weekend and you got some rest. But if you're watching this show and you're like, it's in the middle of the week or our weekends, just make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Sometimes you may do those hikes when you have time off. Sometimes you may drive around, window shop. But even if you're like, I'm working constantly, make sure you're taking a few moments to just take care of yourself, whether that's that bubble bath, sitting outside in your yard, walking around the park. Just take that time out for yourself. All right. So I'm really excited about today's topic, everyone. I am. And I'd love to have people here on the podcast with me because sometimes it can get a little lonely talking to yourself. But when you have fabulous people come in, sometimes you just want to just hold them and keep them with you and keep them on the shows forever. But enough about that. So a brief introduction about my guest, and then I'll let my guest give you more insight. I was introduced to my guest, Christi Garcia, today from a mutual friend, and I was like, whoa, I have to reach out because when I heard about AI, I was like, oh, you got my attention. And someone that's experienced in AI, and we'll talk more about that. And I was like, I gotta have her on my show. And my friend's like, well, she's really awesome. And so I connected with Christi, and y'all know I say this every time on this platform. I wish when I communicate with everyone, I could record the calls because that call was so meaningful. Like, I mean, we had a connection. We talked about boundaries. It was really funny when we were trying to schedule the show. But more importantly, the knowledge that she has about AI is impressive. And I think for her to come on this platform and share a little bit of that insight is such an amazing thing. So, Christi, I want to turn the mic over to you so you can let everybody know how awesome you are.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Kimberlon. I appreciate it. And sentiments exactly back to you. I mean, the connection was immediate and we were just vibing and it's so impressive and I love all the kind words too, right? Because a it is enmeshed in what we do right now and in your field and your working what I do and everything has a layer on it, right? So it's really just looking at the
Yes.
layers. So it's a beautiful connection to be able to have, especially with people who want to help. And really that's what it is about, and that's initially why I got started doing what I do, is to help people. I don't want us to be erased by time or technology. So humanizing AI and learning that and showing people where to start and how to get things going and feel confident and clear about the direction, that's really what it's about for me. And so my name, Christi Garcia, I'm a sacred strategist. And how I came to be, thank you. The how I came to be really is a history and a lifetime of navigating multiple worlds, of being a young mother and a family and an entrepreneur and then a corporate life and my boho spirit and spirituality and learning how to navigate all of that in a world where I was told to stay in one lane. So, pick a lane and walk through that and just be the best producer you can. And it just never really felt like it was full and fully animated and that I could enhance everything. Um, years of riding the roller coasters up and down and gathering all of that experience and those knowledge from all of those worlds and incorporating that into my passion now, it is just it's in perfect alignment. And so what I do is I help people humanize AI, integrate AI into their lives that feels human, natural, in line, in attunement to who they are and who they want to be, give them more time and efficiency in whatever they're using it for. Because people use AI for multiple different things. And I do this with individuals and with businesses and corporations. So that's what I do.
That sounds so
Mhm,
amazing. I can't wait to just dig in and find out
mhm,
more, especially with AI. I wanted to share this quote with you, Christi, and with our listeners and viewers as well about AI. So it says artificial intelligence is not a replacement for humans. It's about amplifying human potential. And that's by Amir Hussein. And I'm so glad that you came here today because when we were talking about that, that's one thing you mentioned about AI and human development. And I know we'll share more about that. So I want to go ahead and get in because AI is like this phenomenon. Some people are either they love it
yep,
or they don't love it.
yes.
So it produces fear on both sides. It's like, do I know how to do it? And I was like, do what? you know,
What is it?
and
Yeah.
it kind you're right. And it kind of reminded me of just a little bit like when the internet came to be, because I was like in
Yep.
college then. And I heard about this internet thing and I was like, wait, what is this internet thing? How do I navigate this internet thing? I was just using a typewriter just years before. So now we're hearing about this internet and it becomes comfortable after a while. Now people just, they just get online like nothing.
Yeah,
And I believe AI could be that way too once we just move into this place of
yeah,
accepting it or realizing that it's not taking over and stuff like
right,
this.
right.
So I want to go ahead and get started and talk a little bit about AI. And I have just a few questions to ask you about it. So, as I mentioned, AI seems to be this new movement taking the world by storm. Everywhere you're hearing everybody, AI this.
Yeah.
And so, yes, and mastering AI, so now it's courses out there, everything. So it's this big phenomenon. But when we were talking about AI and talking about the show, you mentioned that you have been involved with AI for over 10 years. And I was like, wait, what?
Mhm.
So can you please share how long AI has been around?
Yes. So it's an interesting concept, and I think you touched on a few things right there, which is it's the trigger word, it's the buzzword, it's the new movement, right? And I am of a generation where I got to see the internet born, right? I got to be a part of that.
Yes.
It was a new technology. And it was a different time, but that new technology was a part of something prior to that too, which we tend to forget. We just think, oh, it was the internet was born. Just wasn't it didn't just happen. There was fields of studies, there were, schools and people were studying this for decades before we had the internet. So, the same thing has happened with AI. And I'll give you kind of a brief very high level overview because nobody loves to get into the technical overview of history. But, in 1956, that's when AI was a field of study. It became a field of
Wow.
study at Dartmouth. So if you think about movies, and I know people, there's a fine line between sci-fi and reality sometimes, right? But if you think about Space Odyssey and the movie, it was talking to AI out in space. And this was in the 70s they were talking about this and doing movies around this. So it was not a new concept. The 50s is where the field of study, and it became incorporated into Dartmouth as a field of study. What happened is in the 80s, it started to gain some traction. However, money is always a factor. And anybody who tells you different
Mm.
is lying to you, right? Money is a factor when it comes to technology, when it comes to inputs and outputs and how much is going to be thrown at this. So in the 80s, although it started to gain traction, it wasn't funded. We went into we call it the AI winter, which means everything just went cold because there was no money being put towards this,
Mhm.
and really what that means is there wasn't enough buy-in yet. There just wasn't enough buy-in. And in 2010, that's when there was a release of the LLMs, right? Of the chatbots, you remember like the PeopleSofts and the companies, everybody had a system where they had a
Yeah.
chatbot that popped up, right? Whatever it was, how can I help
Yes.
you, right? Those were
Yes.
initially the corporations using AI to start beta modes and see could this work? Could this become more efficient? Right. So could we not have a person taking that call? Could we answer this with a bot? We know what the questions are. Let's answer them with initial answers. So that started to happen. And back in the 2000s, I think what's extremely important to note that not many people will talk about. I talk about it because of where I come from, but initially
Mhm.
beta modes, these were released. Accessibility was to corporations. It was not mainstream and it was not consumerized yet. So it was corporations, large tech industries. And if you think about I'll leave it to your own imagination, but tech, corporations, large conglomerates, these are the people putting money and these were the people putting their input into AI. Okay. So
Mm.
that was your repository. That's what you got. 2022 happened and OpenAI came out and made it accessible to everyone, the masses, right? And so we call this open consumerism. This is where the shift happened. This is where everybody started to incorporate I need my tool out there. I need accessibility. And so obviously the most prolific ones are going to be ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, things like that, tools. But there are thousands and thousands and thousands of AI tools out there, and they're just growing every day. So that's a little bit of the history of where it came to be. So it is very much like you said, it's a movement. This movement has happened far faster and will continue to develop at paces that are just you can't even conceive of right now. So so when mastering, you said mastering, and I'm like, "Oh, that's a trigger word for me." Nobody needs to master. Nobody needs to master AI right now. If you're being sold a mastery class, you're being sold something. Just it is it is ever evolving, it is ever changing, and the mastery comes from knowing who you are and how you can adapt to the new tools that come out, because there will be new tools. So you need to get a foundation, and then you can start adapting as the technologies change, right? So we
Right.
have the old saying, the names and the faces always change at a corporation. Now it's just the names and the tools change. So you just
Yes.
adapt that. Yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
Mhm.
So, could you elaborate more why it's so popular today? Why is it
Mhm.
popular now? I mean, it's at our level now where it's at everybody's fingertips,
Right.
but why now?
It's a it's a great question, and it will lead into, much. I mean, we can talk for hours and days on why now. But I will tell you this kind of my cliff notes, and what I always come back to is this. It's speed, scale, and accessibility. That's why now. It's companies shifting, it's accessibility to everybody and everyone. It is people jumping on and not knowing necessarily what they're doing or where to start or who to trust or how can I take this in. So it is scale. Ultimately, it's scale. And so what I look at is there's a couple different things that are happening, and I always give myself a framework because as you noted before, I've been in the industry and working with AI for a long time. So sometimes I have to take a step back and remember, what was it like when I first started learning about this? What did I want to know about, right? And get back into that headspace because it can be exhausting. It can be
Mhm,
overwhelming. It can be fear stricken, right? And so really what it boils down to is a couple things is there's an AI literacy gap that is happening, and so
mhm,
people are getting smarter faster, right? And what's happening is there's more tools, there's more accessibility, it's happening faster. And so the why now, what happens is there's a literacy gap that happens, and it's getting wider and wider and wider. Like you said, there's people who are using it and not using it. There's a whole gray area of people who are trying to learn. Maybe they're learning like they're using like a glorified Google right now, and even Google's trying to keep up with that. So there's a whole arena of things that are happening, and we as humans know that this is coming. This is the difference. We know because
mhm,
we've been here before. When we've had different technological advances, we didn't necessarily know what to do with it or how to do it. We know now we have to adapt and we have to shift quickly. We know that. So
mhm,
that's why everybody is kind of jumping on board and everybody's talking about it now. There's the shift, the movement, the knowing, and then there's the other flip side of that, which is the fear. And so there's a
mm,
fear that is prevalent, that is happening. What's going to happen to my job? What's going to happen in the world? What's happening? What can I believe? What can I not believe? What is deep faked? What is real? Right? So
mhm.
there is two sides of that coin that make it gives me the chills just thinking about it still. I mean, and this is still,
Wow.
and I deal with this every day and I still get them, right? But it's the lack of understanding, the lack of know-how, where to start. And there's things that are going to be happening that are very, very real. And I think that
Mhm,
people are afraid to talk about it. They're afraid to address it, where things are going, what's happening. Um, and and with that, if people stay paralyzed kind of in that fear of what could be, they miss out on what is, right? Where what they could be doing
Mhm.
now and staying present in the moment. So my high level notes, what's happening? The workforce is shifting. It is shifting 100%. And if
Mhm.
anybody says it's not going to, do not believe them. It's shift now. It's happening now. It's happening now. Skill sets are changing. Core skill sets are changing, and people are feeling the push and the pressure of having to do this. So the why now, right? Industries are changing their verticals. They're changing how they do business. They're changing what they do business in. They're changing where they do business, and wages are climbing. They're shifting. They're moving. Everything is happening, and it's happening in real time. So we're feeling it as it's happening. Basic understandings are shifting, and that shifts from day to day. So it's that catch-22, right? It really is about, like, what I've learned 2 years ago is not the same as a year ago, as 10 months ago, as 5 months ago, as 3 months ago. Yesterday was different than it is today. So it is the why now is, if you don't do it now, I when are you going to do it? When are you going, and the it for me, it's really easy to label. AI is not the it. The it is adapting and shifting. That's the it.
Mm.
How do you shift in a way that is aligned with your own self? That's the it, right? Because the it you can take with you anywhere at all times. Anything you do. The AI is the tool. We just need to learn the tools.
I agree. I agree when you were talking about that, the adapting and the shifting, because the mental health piece where
Mhm.
you said was fear also. And fear is the bottom line for some people, where it's going, where it's heading. And with that adapting and shifting, it's like, as easy as it sounds, it's one of the hardest things for
Sure
people
is.
to do and businesses to do also.
Yeah.
It's like it's this resistance against it, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
You gotta realize what you're dealing with. You will survive this.
Yeah. Well, and
You
the
will
why is,
survive this it.
it's uncertainty, right? The why is
Yes.
just so much uncertainty. And the reality is, uncertainty is constant. It's always going to be there, right? If I don't do this
Yes.
and I do this, what happens? If I take A and I don't take B, what happens? FOMO happen. There's always uncertainty. But a lot of what I do in the embodiment and the check-in and the intuition is that knowing of, like, if I take A is going to be the best path for me. Now let me make the best move in A. How do we do this? So it's a constant check-in. And what I'm doing is my tool usage, is my technology, is my output. Is that in line with who I am, who I want to be, my values, my morals, my ethics, right? And everybody's will be different. Everybody's.
Yes.
So, not a
Definitely.
one size fits all. It is self. It is all about self. So, it's a big thing.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I know we're going to talk a little bit about what you do at your business, which I think is very unique and so well needed for everybody, in individuals and businesses. And I'm honestly not just saying that you because you're here, but someone needs to help with that adapting and shifting. But currently, your clientele that comes to see you to help with that adapt and that shift, what are some of the concerns that individuals or businesses have about using AI when they meet with you? What do they share?
Yeah, it is. I will tell you, it's all across the board. And it usually is, right? It's like this tornado that happens, and it boils down to a couple of things in reality once we drill down. But when I work with businesses, organizations, agencies of that nature, and we're doing workshops, I will tell you, obviously it's the number one, and you hear it posted everywhere. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to be replaced. And
Mhm.
and when I'm coming in and I'm talking to corporations, and we're talking about how we can integrate AI, it is the number one. But I want to take a step back from that and say also, and this isn't something, I'm literally just saying this because it came to me as I was thinking about this earlier today, is that is always been a concern of employees or staff members is that a new automation tool is going to take my job. If we outsource this to a company, they're going to take my job. I won't be able to do this. But I always will challenge people. How many jobs do you have in your one job role? It's usually 5 to 7 different things that they're doing, right?
Agreed.
Never. I have yet to meet one single person, and I've talked to thousands, who said, "I actually do the one role, the one responsibility that I was hired to get on to this job to do." They're wearing multiple hats all the time. They have multiple responsibilities. Somebody leaves, they have to take on those responsibilities and fill that gap now too. So it's always been that way. And now AI is just kind of the new word, right? And I say that lightheartedly to kind of put into perspective that people are always gonna have that fear, right? It's always going to
Mhm,
be there. There's always gonna be
mhm,
somebody who's gonna, "Oh, are they going to replace me? Is this going to replace me? Are they going to replace?" So it's always going to be something like that. So when I take a step back, it's really easy to put into perspective what AI does for you so that you become better at your role. So some of those things that we hear, so that's always the number one, right? And I'm not going to lie. If you do not learn AI and adapt AI, chances are that it's not AI that's going to take your role. It's going to be somebody who knows how to work with AI who takes your role,
mhm,
and that's
mhm,
it's a hard truth that people don't want to talk about, but it is a truth and a reality that is happening. And so kids are getting college educations in this. People are taking courses and learning about this prior to college. They're not even incurring any kind of college debt for degrees around this. They're learning and adapting and shifting quickly. So here are some stats in the workforce transformation that are very real. Is up to and I'm going to gauge this by the year 3030. So within the next 5 years. Now we're 4 years now because we're at the end of 2025, which is 92 million jobs are going to be redesigned. It's just a hard fact. It's going to happen. Industries are changing. And so when people are afraid of the workforce transformation, it's real. It is going to transform. With that 72 million jobs are going to come into the workforce that were never in existence before. A
right,
whole new line of work that has never even been conceived of. So when you talk about needing AI, there's 72 million jobs that are all designed around AI and how to integrate it and how to work with it and how to use it and how to code it and you name it, and it's out there. So it's very, very real when it comes to automation. 39% of the workforce and the skill set is changing. That's already happened. By the time 3030,
mhm,
it's going to be 72%. It's going to have shifted, right? Reskilling and upskilling is going to be non-negotiable. If you do not have AI in your background, on your resume, in your repertoire somewhere, it's going to work against you instead of for you. So, like there's a game change that happens. And now let's talk economics. Economics is another one. And so
okay,
when people are talking about a fear, it's the economic fear. What is going to happen? Wages are going to get increased. So your, $100,000 job now turns into $220,000 job. It's a double, if not more, accelerator. Industries are changing. So, what we used to look for isn't going to be general AI adoption. So this is that explosion of Gen AI, generative AI. In 2024, 55% of the population was using it. As of last month, 75% of the world, we're not
wow,
talking just US, of the world are using Gen AI. So by
wow,
3030, that's anticipated to be over 98% of the world is going to be using some form of Gen AI. And so I don't want people to be limited in the understanding, like, every appliance is gonna have AI in it, every car has AI in it. You buy a new toaster, it's gonna have AI in it. You've got systems, your lighting systems, your everything that you have to upgrade, buy new, change is gonna have a form of AI in it. And so the average just regular old household is gonna have anywhere from 5 to 10 different AI systems working at all times in their house. So, perspective, right? Perspective. How do we
Right.
work with this and how do we adapt to this? Because it's here. Communication styles, things like that, and then AI grow ups. Something that is coming and it you'll see as a new trigger word. It's just coming. And I have a lot of words, you guys. I'm so sorry. There's a lot of words, but
I love this.
I
I'm picking them up.
yeah, so the new thing that is on the horizon that is happening with some of the bots and some of the platforms is called agentics. And so what that means is simply right now you can speak to chat an AI and say, do this for me, get this, I want this kind of output, and you can prompt engineer it. Agentics, you'll be able to take to the next level and say, not only do I want you to do this, say this, generate it for me, but I want you to find the site, book the flights, send me a calendar invite, and invite everybody on my team that needs to do it. And it will do every single step for you without you having to.
Wow.
Now, you can set it up for approvals and things like that, but in essence, when prompt correctly and programmed correctly, you don't have to step in and do those steps. So people will start enhancing that, and that is the agentics world that will start coming within the next year. Mhm.
Agentics.
I know.
I got it.
Well, take it with a grain of salt and cautionary words, right? But and not everybody should be doing it. Actually, most people should not be doing that until you get a handle on a current situation. So, but it's
Exactly.
mhm.
Be careful with that,
Yeah.
everyone. Say the word, you hear about it, but make sure you get the education on it,
Always
okay?
be careful. Always be careful. Yes.
Yes. Well, this is exciting. So I was thinking about AI and mental health,
Mhm.
and I was having a conversation with another therapist probably about 2 months ago, and she mentioned something about AI psychosis. I was like, "What?"
Mhm.
And so, I mean, I thought about the fears and people feeling overwhelmed. I remember you had mentioned that in your story on your website, and probably people in the world feel that way also if they can't keep up or what's to come, or some are excited, and the fears of the job and everything else. So, with AI psychosis, which is very interesting. According to Psychology Today, it was a blog post. It says that some people start to believe that AI is like a god,
Mm.
or they fall in love with it. I mean, because of the relationship, because they type something in and it says what they want to hear.
Yeah.
That's the perfect relationship in our minds is to have that. And because these chat bots often copy what people say and keep talking, that might accidentally make their beliefs even stronger. And I know when we were talking, you said that you recognize that these concerns can happen because of AI and because it's in a place to assist individuals. And now it's at our fingertips. So you've created your business to actually help bridge that gap that we were talking about, or to attack that gray area
Yeah.
between the looking forward to and the not looking forward to forever, to help people with that AI and that human development piece. So could you share on that a little bit? What your dynamic and what you have in place will help people with their mental well-being.
Absolutely. I mean, initially when you jump in, and it's been my experience, it's been the experience of many different people that I've talked to and I've worked with before, is that it's kind of, if you're on TikTok or you have any kind of virals or anything like that, it's like, this is how it started and this is how it's going. Right. And that initial, that romance and that honeymoon of starting AI, and it tells you everything you want to hear and just says, you're wonderful and you're brilliant and you've done such a great job and thank you very much, and you can feel better and you're like doing great and you're feeling like you're just amazing. Wow, I am just amazing. I could do no wrong, right? And initially that's where it starts, because people don't necessarily understand it. And it is like jumping into a new relationship. You don't know what to expect. You don't know where it's going. You don't know what to do with it. You're just like, let's see where this goes, and it really truly is that way for a lot of people. And so, my journey, when people ask me about my journey, because it's not my journey has been a windy road. Like there was never just a
Mhm.
straight and narrow, this is everything, this is how you're going to do it. It was a windy road. And so when I came from a finance, very structured, very rigid, very compliance driven industry that had a box that said, here's where you fit, this is all you can do, go do it. No area for creativity or outlet or anything else. So what I had to do is I had to find something outside of that job description that allowed me to learn and get creative and how does this incorporate into my life? And I was living in the Bay Area. So it was like just this plethora of different things that I could tap into. So I started learning about AI years and years and years ago. And then I got into like the industry and learning about it and how can I incorporate this. And so I've taken all of that because I relate to every single thing that we're talking about is not just theoretical. I have walked through it. I have felt it. I have, embodied it. And I'm like scared to death to do anything about it. I've been paralyzed in fear, like, oh my God, what do I do? I don't know if I should be doing this. Like, is it moral? Is it ethical? Like, this doesn't feel right. You see these things that say, oh, knowing this feels illegal. Yeah. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, this is like brilliant, but I don't know if this is right. So it is that
Mhm.
check in, right? And how these things tie into, you know, I always look at this. That's why I always felt like this was a perfect fit because tying that back to not only it's mental health, it's spiritual health, it's all of that, right? Like
Mhm.
you just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something,
Ag
right? And so
Agreed.
there's a very big difference in that. And so it is that constant like, okay, does this feel right? Does this feel good? Is this right for my body, for my mind? Is this enhancing me or is this keeping me stuck? Is this growing me? Am I feeling better about myself or am I feeling worse and going down a different kind of rabbit hole? Right. So I've gone through all of that. And so um what I'll say is what's different about how things are now is that that how it started and where it's at now is you've got to program AI. AI, I talk a lot in my sessions we go through what AI is and what it isn't. And there's a very big misconception and miseducation out there as to what AI is and what it isn't. And so, I go through that, but it's programming it. It's saying, okay, I have a name for mine and I call her, she's a female for me. But I talk to her in her voice and just say, look, I don't want you to agree with me. And in my shops and my sessions, we set this up to personalize for each individual because each individual sounds different. But you have to do that. You have to get to a place where you're secure enough where you can program it and where you can feel good about the information you're providing it and then utilize that, work with it, and feel good about the output that it's giving you because there's layers to this. And so this is a whole world in itself. And so I walk through people initially, and I'll do this with organizations, agencies, and individuals. It does not matter who you are. What matters is the foundation gets set. You have to set parameters. You have to be compliant with whatever that compliance agreement is, whether it's work, agency, or self, right? You have an agreement. And so you've got to be okay with those. And then we walk you through that foundational setup, walk you through what it looks like and how to program. And then you can start to run with some automations and workflows. But you can't run before you learn how to sit up, how to raise your head,
Mhm.
look at a clear picture, right? You've got to do that first. So it's really the basis and the foundation of what I do when I'm working with people.
Nice, and that really helps, so it can minimize and then close that gap too,
Yeah,
and minimize fears,
yeah.
and empower people
It does.
to To master AI. No, I'm joking. Joking. I know that was your trigger word.
It's so funny, right? Because it's like, oh god,
Yeah.
you got to program it first. And the thing is this too is that and I was thinking as we were talking about this is how this ties in, and we didn't touch on it, but there is something on a level when it comes to what you're doing in your field of expertise as well, and where they start to tie in is jobs are not just going to be considered for AI. That's not the only thing that's changing. There's going to be new roles and new positions on counseling around transition, counseling around
Mhm.
adoption, right? It's called job displacement. How is there going to be a transition around job displacement to AI agents? How is this going to like
Yeah.
it is a whole shift, it's a paradigm shift, and so, there's grief in that, right? There's grief, there's loss in that, there's isolation that happens in that, there's, feelings of dismissal, like, "How could I just be, thrown away? I put 20 years into this company, and now this is
Yes.
shifted, so now what do I do with that?" Right? And we need to have humans in place who understand this and can help people through these changes. It is so, so important. So important. Yeah.
Yes. I know I need to really just, up my game and, hey, make this my niche. To be able to accept, to help people because it's true. And
It's
when you were talking, I was even thinking about feeling of, inadequacy.
yeah,
Like,
sure.
I'm not good enough because they chose to replace what I was doing with the machine. So am I worthy to go get another job? Somebody
Yeah,
else may not hire me. Just dealing with those fears and then sending them to Christy to help them be able to bridge that gap and get back out there. It's like you don't just take it and go sit on the sideline.
right,
Like if you're playing sports, you got to get the training, you got to do the work and then get back in because
right.
it'll be 72 million jobs. And that
Yeah.
one job will be for you to
Yes,
get
and
right back
these
in.
are just these are just roles, right? If you can think of us expanding
Yes.
these. So yeah, yeah, it's very, very real, but, balancing with self and humanism and what feels real and authentic, if you're in a state of mind where you can do that, you can take that anywhere. You can take that anywhere, and people
Yes.
want that all day long, all day long.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So we were already tag teaming on the business here, everyone. So, I'm joking. Because there's a need, and seriously, there's a need for both of us to help to get to that place. So I know you shared a little bit about this, Christy, but can you share if an individual or a business were to come see you? What would that look like? Because I want them to check you out anyway. You don't have to give them the full meal. We'll just
Yeah.
give them the appetizer version.
So funny. Well, that's funny because how I show up is how I show up, right? And this is me. I'm like,
Okay.
if we're talking and you're here, you got the taste, right? This is how we're gonna work together, right? And so it is, and that's my basic level, right? My core primal level is to help individuals, to help people. And I say corporations and agencies because I work with them, but ultimately I'm helping people. That's who I'm working with,
Mhm,
right? And I help them balance. It is about balancing humanism and
mhm,
tools and AI agency. So this is what I do is we help them save time, we become more efficient, become more capable and confident in their skill sets and where they are with staying in alignment. It's huge. I will always come back to alignment because the core and the essence of the embodiment and the trust and the values and the comprehension is all about knowing yourself. And I'm not a fan of saying knowing yourself is the whole goal. It's not the whole goal, but you've got to have a sense of self, right? You got to do the work
mhm,
to know, okay, this is how I operate. This is how I best, live and breathe in my life every single day. And so I combine that. So we do embodiment, we'll do grounding, we do that breath work to stay in tune, to stay in alignment because as you start to use AI, like you said, that psychosis can kick in and you can start to become
Yes.
dependent and just say, "Oh, AI, do this, generate that, generate that." But you have to pull that back. You have to be in alignment and say, "This is my creative nature. I'm enhancing my voice, my authenticity, and I'm using a tool to be able to do that." So, the AI, what they can expect is efficiency tools to getting rid of the mundane tasks that are repetitive that we do over and over and over again. Like, put that on automation. Let's go. Like you don't need to recreate the wheel every single time you're doing something two, 5, 6 times a day, right? So we incorporate automation in a way that feels relatively good to you. We want you to feel good about what it is. So every session will have grounding. Every session we do hands-on experience. So it's not just like watching a demo or watching me go through it. It's hands-on. I walk you through the processes. We do use cases that are specific to what you're doing and how you operate. We'll program and prompt for you. So we do workshops, we do labs, and I do one-on-ones. So the workshops are for, larger groups, the labs are for smaller groups where we kind of get you specific things that you want to get done, you're trying to figure out. It's a Q&A session, it's free sessions on Friday, but um and then you learn every step of the way and then you take that because like we said, the tools are going to change. But if you learn how to use the tools from a foundational level, you when the next tool comes,
Hmm.
you plug and play. You can just say, okay, now I need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now let's start using this tool. So that's really what it's about. And when you have that authentic voice, you can do that with any tool that comes your way. You just pivot it. You just pivot. So we do that through a different basis on what's good for you. What's good for you, your company, whatever your goals. And
Perfect. So I know everybody was like, okay, Kimberlon's been talking about Christie's business, business, business. What's the name of the business? Can we get info on business? Yes. I purposely saved it until the end because I didn't want it to get lost in our conversation.
Mhm.
So, Christy, can you tell us about your business, how to book appointments, and do you do virtual services and any website information? Anything you'd like to share about your business?
Absolutely. So when I launched this, I will tell you, this is kind of the reasoning behind how I do business is I am authentic. I keep it real to myself. And initially my corporate girly side said, I can automate this and do this and all these multiple different ways. But my authentic real self said, keep it simple. This is how I like to work with people and how we like to engage. And AI, while AI is a buzz trigger word and the masses need to understand where to start and do this, I create a safe place to be able to do that. And so the way that I can do that is interacting with people. We have a conversation. So what I do, I have a website listed up. It's Sacred Strategist is my website. I'll give you the link. You can share it with anybody, need be. And it has different navigation pages, but it will show in the modes in which I operate with people individually, with corporations and with agencies. So whatever your fit is, whether you're an employee and you want to bring this to your business or your corporation and say, hey, let's do a workshop, we can do that. If it's something you want to do one off, I will do a workshop with you one off. So there's multiple different ways to work with me, but we keep it simple. We still keep it simple. And you can go to the website. I have a link tree I'll send over to you too that has all the different links on how to do it. Everything kind of circles together. But what it looks like really is email me. Email me. Let's set up a conversation. Let's have a talk because what you think you might need versus what you really need could be different. So we want to make sure
Hmm.
that, that your goals and how you want to do that, what your current understanding is, align, and then I can tailor the offering towards you. So then we'll set it up, put it on the calendar, get going, and move through it. And the goal, if you take anything away from this, anything at all from the whole entire thing for me, the goal is that I create a safe place for people to learn, grow, and feel confident about utilizing AI in their worlds, whatever that looks like. That's what I do. So I will save that space. I hold that space for everybody. Um, and it's a place to come and get that. And you know that immediately once we start talking.
Love it. I love it. So everyone, viewers and listeners, just because AI don't mean you can put this in. What Chrissy is actually giving, that human piece is something, even if you plugged it in on AI, you can't get it. So why not go and see Christy and partner with Christy and learn how to do it? Because what I like about what Christy said, it enhances. So it puts the individual first before AI, instead of the way we're looking at it now. AI is taking over us.
Yeah.
And for the groundwork and everything else, for someone to offer that, that's like a 2 for 1, because it prevents you from becoming overwhelmed when you're getting ready to learn that information. Christy does something very unique. I have to say it again, because you actually set the stage for people to learn the information. So it isn't just your average training session, like,
Right.
get here, here's your book, open up, let's go. It's like, no, take some
Personal.
moments, let's ground so we can accept the information. And then you can just take it on in
Yeah.
and level up from there.
Yeah. And
Y'all,
it's
it's a
so
win.
personal. Thank you. I love to hear the how it's received because it is very personal, right? And so and people learn differently, they take things in differently. So I do things in person, I do things virtual. We have an open group, so if you're not in this immediate area, that's okay too. We set up virtual series all the time. So, there's no reason to not be able to learn how to do this. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So it doesn't matter if you're in the state or if you're in the country, as long as you have access to a virtual platform,
Yep.
you can join a group.
Yeah, you sure can. It's about accessibility. Accessibility cannot be limited
Accessibility.
anymore. Yep.
No, it can't. So that's really amazing. Oh my gosh. This is so much. I mean, this, I love it. You have
Good.
given us so much information. Why not partner with Christy so she can give you more information? I mean, this was an
Oh,
appetizer. Yeah, it was an
yeah.
appetizer plus a snack.
It's, it's so, I can talk for I like I was said we were talking about this, on our call, is I have a whole lot of words and a whole lot of information, but the reality is kind of it the information always changes, right? And so the other aspect that we didn't really kind of talk too much about is you also need a partner who's staying up to date, right? Because it's impossible to
Yes.
stay up to date on everything on your own. Like, and you don't need to. That's the other thing. We're in a society that pushes and even AI experts have talked about this. They're like, it's overload, it's overload. There's so many new tools, there's so much. And what happens is when you're receiving all the time, there's no way to implement because you're just always taking it in.
Mhm.
So it's really important to have somebody in your corner who knows what information to take on and when it's appropriate to take on and then what to implement and push out, right? Because not
Yes.
everything is important, right? Not everything is important. Um, but when they do come out, I mean, major shifts and changes, you want to know about them and how does that impact you in your life and what you're doing? There's so many different things that are happening. And I mean, the conversations that I've had, and it's been really interesting because some of the things that I thought in my head, I thought these are going to be challenges and these are going to be bridges to cross are not there. They're just not there. The pushback and
Wow.
I've done some classes where I keep waiting, I'm prepared for it to come up and I keep waiting for it to come up and it never comes up. And I asked the class one time, I said, do you guys care about this? Is this a big deal? And everybody and their mother said, no, we don't care about that. We got to keep moving.
Wow.
Whoa, okay, this is good feedback because, it just shows and it speaks to how fast our society is moving and adapting to this, right? So,
Yes.
yeah, it's just such I am so passionate about this and I just feel like it fits everywhere, everywhere in a human element for sure. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you for
Of
sharing so
course.
much. And I'll definitely post the links, how to get in contact with
Oh,
you. Again, Christie's worldwide. So that accessibility is huge. I love it. Wow.
appreciate
So,
it.
I mean, this has been, you're welcome. This has been like really amazing and very informative. You know, I mean, I thought I was a pro with AI, and I'm like, whoa.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, well,
Yeah, I thought I'm
anytime you
like, it's
wanna come
so
on
much
in,
to learn.
I'll take you through some steps, and we'll get you set up. So, it's all about help.
Nice.
Yes.
Yes, I appreciate it. And as we close, is there any last words you would like to share with the viewers or the listeners?
Wow. I never think I have last words, right? Although there's always more, but wait, there's more. I've learned in how I show up is all sides of me, right? And so what a beautiful thing is that's happening now is with what I do, creating efficiencies, creating more time, what it allows is for all sides of me to show up. And that's what I want to bring to everybody. Let all of your sides come up, right? No matter where you're at, no matter what space you're in, let you shine through. That's really what it's about. And so it's going to look different in all phases. It's going to look different, but don't let fear stop you from moving forward. And don't let
Sure.
other people tell you what moving forward looks like for you. It looks different for everybody. So, you know, it doesn't go away, right? We just learn how to do things differently. So, don't stay stuck in fear. Move forward through whatever you need to move forward. Show up and learn something, right? And get some really good people in your corner and get some good partners who will help you, support you, that you trust, and we'll carry you through that space. I love it, and I hope that that helps people walk through whatever they need to.
Thank you so
Mhm.
much. Thank you. So it's very important, listeners and viewers, that we create the balance between AI and our mental health because AI is only here to enhance. And teaming up and partnering with Christy helps bridge that gap if there's any gap that exists. So awesome. All
Wonderful.
right, Christy, this has been great. Thank you for coming to Good Tea and Read. And listeners and viewers, yet we have another fantastic episode down in the books. So, without further ado, I think we have filled everyone's cups, right? And even provided an appetizer or two for everyone.
Appreciate it.
So you have a little meal to hold you through, okay? So don't fear AI, right? So jump in it. Come meet with Christy if you need to. And I will see you next time on Good Tea and Reads. I am your host, Kimbralon B. See you.